Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Escambia Empires for episode 41. And our guest today is David Porter. And your hosts today are Danny and JoJo Warner. So we do not have Mike in this episode. So if you're looking forward to hearing his beautiful, angelic, luxurious voice at some point, you're going to be severely disappointed. But Mike has not been replaced, but we do have JoJo in this episode, so you can listen to her voice at different points in the episode. Anyway, saying all that to say, he was tied up with a couple different things, and I do mention it in the episode as well, so I won't go too deep into it, but just as a heads up, she's going to be our new editor, so she's going to be taking on a few different things. And so now about our guest, David Porter. He is a real estate agent here in Pensacola, and he also owns his own lawn care company, and he also does property management. So he's got lots of different things that he does, and he kind of touches on each of them throughout the episode, what he enjoys the most, how he's developed his skill set in each of those fields, and so on.
In the episode, we really talk about the different hats that he wears and just how he's excelled in each of them, and just it was really enjoyable just to hear him talk about it and get to know him as a business owner and real estate agent. So I hope you enjoy this episode.
Mm-hmm. So David, happy to meet you. This is my first time meeting you, and here we are on the podcast. So give us a rundown of what you do personally, kind of a history of what you got there, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into those topics.
So currently I work not only in property management and then also real estate, but I also do lawn care and tree work on the side. So kind of where we were talking about ahead of time, kind of where I started was actually when I was 8 years old. We started cutting grass for just a neighbor here, and then we'd get another neighbor there. And it was originally me at first, and then my brother kind of came along, and we just slowly started growing. My dad, who's been in real estate for 30-something years and property management as well, I kind of was able to get connected with them, not just from his name, but then also, being able to help different properties that are going to be listed or whether it be for rent or for sale. And it just kind of snowball effect. So then by the time I actually graduated college, I just kind of jumped right in with real estate, hopped on their team and started, working, just kind of doing my part and getting in.
That's awesome. I love kind of that full wraparound effect of that wasn't your intention, but everything just, your skill set was just so well-rounded. You just decided to dive into it and just see what you could do. So what would you say is the thing that you enjoy most out of those things? You enjoy lawn care, or is it more just something of each? I
enjoy all of it. The lawn care part is kind of nice because you can just get away and essentially just by yourself mowing, get off. But I really love each aspect of it because it's kind of cool. One of the things I really like, especially with, I'm sure you see the same with first-time home buyers, is kind of working them through not only the buying process, but then also seeing the end result where they're so excited. This is the first time deal that they're getting to experience this. So it's kind of cool to add not only just working the transaction part of it, but then also taking care of if they're selling or, whatever the case may be, kind of get the full circle deal, if you will, with it. So
now you said you also do painting and a little bit of prep work for your houses too. Is that?
It's mainly just we've got just different access to guys, kind of like most realtors. You've got your different painters, but just because I've been unknowingly in the business so long with, just the lawn care aspect, and then just meeting all of, the people my dad used and the people that we've done work for just throughout the years, it kind of just made it a smooth transition into, hey, can you please get this taken care of? I got a house that's going on the market tomorrow, or just something like that. So it's been pretty awesome to, just see that whole snowball effect, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything just tied together so well. So how long have you been a real estate agent then, on that note?
Going on 3 years.
3 years. Awesome. That's exciting. Yeah, I'm just about ready to pass my pre-licensure course here, so we'll be taking that exam coming up soon, but that's exciting. So are you working primarily with buyers then, or are you also working with sellers, or what's kind of the dynamic there?
Kind of a mix of both on that. So we've got several buyers that we work with, whether it be from people from school or just, your regular prospecting that you do. Yeah. And also from the rental aspects, I work with, property management as well. A lot of those homes that are coming up, especially in our market now, they're wanting to kind of take advantage of the market that we're in.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm getting, not only kind of talk with them about different rental aspects of getting this done or that done, but then also what they can expect with selling. So it's kind of cool just being able to direct them in whatever direction they're life goals they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd say it's kind of a mix of both.
Okay, cool. And then let's see, you mentioned school. So where did you go to school?
Went to Pensacola Christian
Okay.
College, graduated with a business management and marketing, and then started working right after that.
Okay, so that's useful. I'm curious. I've heard, like, obviously everybody has different opinions on college, but how would you say that that's tied in, that training is tied in to what you're currently doing now?
Honestly, from a business management standpoint, a lot of what I learned was actually through our lawn care side.
Okay.
So kind of a quick little side note. I mean, I know that we started out with, 1 or 2 lawns, and it just kind of grew. But by the time we were actually in college, we were running an account, or we were running about 75 different accounts
Okay.
on that. So we're trying to do that plus full-time school. So a lot of the different little, I guess, objections or hurdles that you get to overcome, whether it be having to buy new equipment, hire personnel, or, any hire labor, I should say, or anything like that. I got to actually learn hands-on, not only, just through whatever we were going through, but then also in the books and in the different classes that we were having. So it's kind of cool to correlate a lot of them. I knew, I would say that I knew the concept, not necessarily the terminology that the school would use or the classes would use, but I know the concept before we even learned it in the class.
That's awesome.
Which was kind of cool.
So when you say we, did you have like a team?
My brother and I for the lawn care side of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I had started out probably the first year or 2 by myself, and then just started getting to where, for one, I didn't want to push our yard all the time. So got him involved in it, and we just it just started growing. I mean, we didn't really do any advertising. We just talked with different people. So, and I think kind of one of the main things that led to us being able to have the different opportunities that we did was actually through my dad. Because a lot of it, and I'm kind of big on mentors, not necessarily, you have to go out and hire people, but have people that you're always talking with.
Yeah.
So for my dad, he was one that had started cutting grass kind of without even knowing it. My life is pretty much almost mirror to what he's done. Started cutting grass, got in real estate and property management. But a lot of what he's done, I've actually been able to talk with him and just get kind of little side notes of what you would do in this situation or that. So it's kind of been cool having a mentor. I know that everybody's got different people that they use and all, but for me, it was my dad, just with giving us the different, I guess, personal experiences of what he would recommend with different things. So that's been kind of key and instrumental with, where we're at today.
Yeah. Your growth process. So, so do you work with your dad currently then, or is it just, okay, awesome. Yeah. I was curious about that. I know you mentioned that he'd been in real estate for a long time. So naturally you'd assume that, but I wanted to definitely clarify that. Yeah. So you mentioned property management as well. What does that kind of look like? Do you have your own company, or
I work with
personal?
I just kind of step in and help where needed. So especially with like Hurricane Sally, we've got, roughly 700 homes that we're managing with that. So
wait, 700?
700.
Oh,
So
wow.
it kind of fluctuates just with, different ones coming in and selling, but roughly 700. And with all the different storm damages, kind of just all hands on deck and start helping with whether it be roofs, trees, or
700 homes, especially after Sally. That's a lot to cover, a lot of ground. Well, cool. And then how long have you been doing property management? Is that kind of another thing that you brought in with your dad, or is it something that's more recent?
The same, right about 3 years. That's actually what I first started in while I was working through getting my license and all the different requirements for that. And then probably about 6 months later is when I actually got, my license. I started selling.
Very nice. Okay. So is property management more what drove you to get your license then, is what it sounds like, or was it more just?
No, it was more of just having a residual income that comes in just to kind of get you by in this process while you're, trying to make a name for yourself and get your name out. Yeah. So, because everybody, at least with, places like church and just our whole sphere of influence, everybody knew us as the guy that would cut grass. Yeah. On that. So it's like, well, I actually sell real estate now.
Yeah.
So
I want to do something a little bit more than that.
We're trying to expand and hit all the different areas that you as an individual may, come in contact with. So, So it's been kind of cool.
Well, awesome. So let's see. I'm trying to think of where we could go from there, because there's a couple different ways I could head. So what would you say out of all of that? I can't remember if I asked you this off air or on air, so forgive me, but what would you say is your favorite thing that you kind of invest most of yourself into, most of your talents and your time? What would you say is the one thing that if you had to drop everything else, you would just dive into 100%? Because you said that you enjoy all of it. So I'm curious.
I would say it'd probably actually be a combination of two, from the actually practice as a real estate agent and then the lawn care side. Okay. The lawn care side, it's kind of a little difficult to almost let it go just because I've been doing it since I was 8
Oh,
years
yeah.
old, which is, 14 years now.
It's
almost.
nostalgic at this point.
So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of something that's sustained itself. And, I mean, to be honest, the reason why it hasn't, I guess, grown to the complete, or I guess what it could be is because of how many different hats that I, have on, if you will. So I'm
Yeah.
the one that takes care of estimates, talks with this, and basically does everything. But, I mean, especially in today's, society, it's kind of difficult hiring people from here. So we've definitely been looking. But, just from seeing where that's been and what it's come about, that's kind of tough. But then also from the real estate side, it's, I love where the steps that we're making and all that. So I will say that one of the things that's been a little bit difficult is having your hands in so many different directions. It makes it difficult to kind of excel at one.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my downfall is with not, succeeding where I could be.
Yeah.
Is from that aspect. So.
I think it's definitely like it's a hard balance to find, and I say balance kind of lightly because you never really truly find a balance. But a lot of our guests are in the same boat or have been in the same boat at one point or another. Where, in fact, several recently have said the same phrase. I got to wear many hats. There's a lot of different ways that I got to go and learn a lot of different skills, which makes you a well-rounded person. But it also, like you said, it kind of does tend to detract.
Limits you on what you can do.
Do you foresee hiring an assistant or like a transaction coordinator, or what's kind of your systems and processes on the real estate side to make sure that you're able to have time for the other stuff?
Yeah, definitely in the future, I'd love to be able to, do it. As for right now, I'm not quite at that point where I can necessarily branch out and, hire a full-time assistant. Kind of things that's been really nice in the situation I've been is my dad and my uncle, they're kind of a team that work together, and I've been able to step inside and work with that without actually being an established member of the team.
Yeah.
So then also, whenever things have gotten really busy, their transaction coordinators actually stepped in and helped us out with little things here and there, which has been
That's
really
great.
helpful.
Yeah.
So I mean, as things continue to progress and, grow, if you will, then I definitely see that happening in the future.
It's definitely a goal.
Does your brother help you with real estate? Because I know
He
you
does
said
not. No,
you got to get him into that.
He joined the Marine Corps and does reserve
okay.
duty, and he kind of works with all the lawn care side of it.
Okay, gotcha.
So I just kind of help. I've stepped back, which has been really awesome to see where it's been since then. Stepped back and we hired people just to kind of day help, essentially helping out.
Yeah.
And I just kind of take care of the admin stuff, whether it be talk with people, estimating, scheduling. So that's
cool.
Been.
Cool dynamic. That's a lot. I'm really enjoying listening to you because, like I said, I haven't known you or really even talked to you before this podcast. So it's cool just to see kind of the similarities between you and your brother and me and mine. So yeah. And for our guests, Mike was supposed to be here, but things just went a little bit south with a couple things that we're doing, and he's the damage control, he's the admin, he's doing all the difficult stuff. So I'm here enjoying myself, getting to know a new friend, and so we're just holding down the fort at this point. But with that being said, so what do you do in your spare time whenever you do have spare time?
I love to hunt anything outdoors. I love to hunt, fish, whether it be, and then also water sports, skiing, kneeboard, and just anything active. I get kind of antsy if I'm sitting around doing nothing, so I just love being active and, having fun.
That's cool. So where do you do most of your like hunting and that stuff? Is that more in Alabama, or is it just...
It's actually here, I mean, 20 minutes north of town.
Yeah.
On that, we've got a little bit of land at my grandparents', and then we've got a lease that we're in, so...
I have to admit that, like, when I was growing up, all I did was pretty much squirrel hunting, and that was about all I got to do. But that was up in Wisconsin. So coming down here, it's a little bit different. I've never really talked to an outdoorsman, that does it here. So that's cool. And then I've got a couple more questions about you personally. And one of those is what would you say drives you? Like, what's your passion? What do you say wakes you up in the morning? And I know that's like a deep question, but I also want to just highlight that everybody's got different things, and that's a question that I like to ask is just, and you can answer it. I can ask another one while you're kind of thinking about that, but a lot of people can tend to just fill time and do things that they're dropped into. So I'm just kind of feeling it out and seeing what lights your fire.
Yeah, definitely. kind of goes back actually as I was growing up. My dad was real goal oriented, so everybody always writes their goals, whether I'm going to work out or do this or do that. But my dad was real specific, and even to this day, I don't even live with him, but he always asks, what are your goals for the year on that. So kind of for me, one of the things was I can see long term. The short term is not necessarily my greatest asset or ability, if you will.
Yeah.
But looking long term, that I'd like to be able to do this, retire at this age. So that kind of, I guess, sets the stage for me waking up and, trying to work as hard as I can to get this established and, put all these different things in order. So then by the time I get to this age where I can essentially sit back and have fun and not have to worry about working, I've essentially worked towards achieving that. So I'd say that's kind of one of the reasons that wakes me up and kind of keeps me from doing the daily grind of just get up, work, and go home and go to sleep, but actually have a purpose with trying to fulfill what my long-term dreams are.
Yeah, that's right. That's a really good answer. I know, like, off the top, it just seems like really heavy. I mean, personally, personally, I know, like, as Mike is normally the host, he tries to ask different questions a little bit more leading. But I every time I sit down with coffee, I just love hearing what gets people going. So everybody has something different that it is, and that was a really solid answer. So I know that's like a lot of pressure, but
like,
but
I'm
cool.
not ready for that. But it's like, keep talking and let me think.
Yeah, I know, right? And then one other question that I like to ask of everybody, and not everybody does read, but what's a book that you've read in the past or a book you're reading recently that you would definitely say, this has helped me while pursuing all these different things? This has helped me in personal development or in business?
I will say I'm not the strongest reader.
Yeah.
For that, I'm a pro at starting them, but the finishing part of it is kind of I'm still working on.
That's me.
But I would say a lot of and I wouldn't say I necessarily read books and all that. I definitely would like to get better, but we go to different real estate seminars and conventions and things. So being able to go and I guess hear their input and what drives them and different things that they've put in, whether it be systems or just different daily routines that they go through, is kind of helped out. And I'll be honest, I totally forgot the beginning of the question because I was going in a direction.
Yeah, no. I have to literally, because so many guests will get on a roll, and kind of rabbit trail. I try to repeat any questions in my head because even Mike will rabbit trail and he'll be like, "Hey, where did I get off on that?" So anyway, so my original question was, what books have you read in the past or are you reading currently that you would definitely recommend or that have helped you in your own personal development?
I mean, how to influence, I don't even know how to say it, how to influence friends and, it's the one that everybody says.
I'm reading that right now, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I know that we had to read part of that for school on that, and I always thought that was definitely influential as far as just different aspects to take care of or things that you should be doing. But I do need to reread that so I can actually be well knowledge on the entire book again, because it was how school goes, you just read it real quick to check it off. But,
that's right. Write that book report, skim a few pages. I really like that. That's a great book. I'm blown away by how in depth and clear his message is in the book. And I'm just barely past the halfway point right now, and I've been trying to read 10 pages. I say trying. We're doing a program where it's required to read 10 pages a day of a personal development book. So I'm now finishing books that I'm starting, but it's phenomenal. So I definitely recommend that too. And as soon as I finish it, I'm going to turn right around and read it again because it's so in depth.
Yeah, before this program, I was never really a reader either, but it's good.
So you can relate.
Yeah.
And what's cool with that book too, I know it's like really relationship oriented and kind of a little quick story that ties both the real estate side and the lawn care side. We were cutting grass for this lady that was, she was pretty elderly on that. And I don't know how old she was, but I bet you that was 7-8 years ago when we were first starting. I could barely drive.
Okay.
And then fast forward to just this past year, we get a call, just a cold call that we had, picked up and started talking with her. And when I go to do the listing presentation, come to find out that's the exact same lady that she'd ended up passing away. So they were going through probate and, going through and selling it. But then because of the relationship that I had built with that lady, I never even met the son on that. But because I had asked, I said, such and such lady lived there. They were like, oh my goodness, and started talking through. So just from that little relationship that I had built, it kind of led to being able to get this listing where we, ended up selling the property. So
yeah, that's interesting.
I know that book kind of deals a lot with relationships and all, and I've started to see the trickle effect from all these different people we've done work for.
Yeah.
Just various walks of life now is kind of essentially paying off, if you want to use that term, for just different people. And there's some, especially Pensacola, I'm sure everywhere else is, but just so connected with just different people that you don't even know about it. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, people talk. It's definitely like we were just having a talk. I say having a talk. We were having a conversation earlier, like a sit down family talk. All right, we need to go over something. No, but we were Jojo, me, and Mike were running over a topic real quick, and one thing that we highlighted was, as a professional, that's a standard that you want to have is to be able to have people recommend you and be comfortable in that, be comfortable in your service that you offer, or whatever it is that you're doing. Because I feel like a lot of people tend to relate the negative, and this is true for everybody, but whether it's going to a restaurant and leaving a bad review or whatever, but people tend to relate the negative a lot more than the positive. So to be able to say that, like, these people have recommended me enough to where I'm actually getting future business. That's honestly, that's a huge thing. So I'm happy to hear that. And then I feel like I had one more question and I lost it as I was talking, but I feel like I'll think of it, but there's just not enough time. So what's your daily schedule look like? What from start to finish would you say is a typical day in your life?
Typical day is I'll, of course, wake up, and I normally go to the gym in the morning first thing. Then I get to the office about 8, and every day before I ever start anything, I always start with a to-do list on that, and then I'll end that day with a to-do list as well. So different things. And normally, how everybody is, you write one thing, you cross it off, and then 2 more things just magically appears what it feels like. So you never finish a list, but that's kind of been instrumental with being able to, I guess, walk away and put work away, not be constantly thinking about it, but just with the because we're always working in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, yeah.
But it's kind of nice to be able to put that away. But, then from, 8 to 5 or, however late I end up staying, we're prospecting, working with, different little things that come up on the rental side, estimates for the lawn. So that's kind of where I was going with the, so many hats. I kind of really should step away and kind of put someone else in that specific position. But I think one of the big things is I start off with a to-do list and I end with a to-do list for the next day, and then add in between if I need to. Yeah. So
really that's a good recommendation for anybody doing anything, not just real estate or lawn care or whatever. If you're a small business owner, you have to have some sort of routine like that where you can section off some time just to breathe, because half the time I feel like it just snowballs where you get fired up and you just keep going, and then next thing you know you're not getting enough sleep, you're not getting enough personal time, or other things and other important things get cut out. But it's been solid, like getting to know you a little bit and just talking through all this. Thanks for coming on. I just wanted to say that to you personally. And where can people find you? Where can people reach out?
On Google. I've got my website there. If you just look up David Porter, it'll come up. And also we're on Facebook as well.
Roger that. All right. Well, I'll put those links in the description for anybody that does want to directly reach out. They can easily access you. But all right. Well, I appreciate you being on, like I said, and thank you for listening, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the episode with David Porter. I really appreciate all of you chiming in. I say chiming in, that's my natural instinct, but tuning in. I didn't necessarily hear anybody else's voices besides ours. So, but yeah, thank you for tuning in tonight. And if you haven't checked out any of our other episodes, please feel free to do so. There's plenty of other business owners and other professionals here in Pensacola that you can connect with. And so just as with David Porter, we're going to put the connection in the description, whether that be their phone number or their website or social media links, whatever it is, we're going to put that connection here so that they're accessible for you if they've got a service or otherwise that you're interested in here in Pensacola. But with all of that being said, thank you again for listening, and we appreciate your time.